Hi everybody and welcome to the Overcooked All You Can Eat panel. I'm John Wilcox from Team 17 and with me today are some very special guests to discuss Overcooked All You Can Eat, which is coming to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. From developers Ghost Town Games, we've got Ollie and Phil. Hi chaps.
Hello.
And joining them is Chris, who's the producer on the game for Team 17. Hey Chris.
Hey, how you doing?
So first of all, I guess we'll go back to basics and describe what Overcooked as a game actually is. I know that many of our viewers watching will be more than familiar with both the original game and Overcooked 2. But in case they aren't, Phil, Ollie, you're obviously the two creators of Overcooked 1 back in 2016, way back now. How do you best describe Overcooked and how did you come up with the idea?
It is a chaotic cooperative cooking game. The idea is that you are controlling little chefs in a kitchen, and it's all about working together to try and get the orders out as quickly as possible. That's sort of the crux of it.
That's a great little nutshell there, exactly. Yeah, really succinct. That was great. I mean, Ollie, how did you and Phil come up with the original idea?
Well, me and Phil used to play a lot of local multiplayer games in our lunchtimes when we were working at a larger studio, and we were looking for something where players were doing something all at once, as opposed to sort of chasing each other for, say, loot in a sort of a dungeon crawling kind of game. And Phil had some experience in kitchens, and so we sort of naturally gravitated towards cooking, which sort of seemed like something where everyone has a sort of basic understanding of what it takes to make recipes and that kind of thing. And so you could kind of all come into it with the same amount of knowledge, and there's always as many jobs as you need there to be in parallel that sort of keeps everyone busy and disrupted, a lot of plates spinning. So that's sort of where the basic idea came from.
Fantastic. And obviously moving on to All You Can Eat. The game isn't a simple re-release of the original Overcooked 2. It's far more than that, as the recent announcement trailer will have shown, and it really is a built from the ground up version of both games for next generation consoles. The announcement trailer showed off a total visual overhaul, online multiplayer of the original Overcooked levels for the very first time. Every single piece of downloadable content that's been released for both installments over the last 4 years, new levels, new additional chefs. Phil and Ollie, as franchise creators, essentially, what are you looking forward to most with All You Can Eat when it comes to sharing it with?
Yeah, I think for me, what excited us was the chance to sort of do the definitive version of Overcooked, because as we were talking about there, the first game was made by me and Ollie in my front room, essentially, on an old broken down sofa, which Ollie broke actually after years of sitting on it. I think that's fair.
There's a story there. There's a story there.
Yeah. So for me, it's just about being able to take the kind of promise of that game in those early days and really bring it up to the level that we think we achieved with Overcooked 2, to add all the features that we were able to add in Overcooked 2 and bring them back to Overcooked 1, as well as introducing new content. It just really feels like a chance to kind of, as I say, just package everything together in this really one definitive place so that people can get like the best Overcooked experience.
Yeah, and I mean, from my side, like one of the big things we couldn't really do in the original game was online multiplayer, because it was just me coding it, and like it's one of those things that takes a very long time and a lot of work. Whereas Overcooked 2 had that as a feature, so we can now, with the team over at Team 17 helping out, can like bring that into the original game, which is really cool.
Great. And Chris, as I said, you're at the top. You're producer on the game from a Team 17 standpoint. Talk us through the approach that you're taking in the dev team.
Yes, it's been we've had quite a long project for this one. It's been very exciting. We're doing lots of exciting things. Crossplay is massive. This is one of the first titles that Team 17 will be doing crossplay on. So it's been a very long period. Lots of testing, as you can imagine. A lot of hard work got into it over the months. As you alluded to before, everything from a dev's perspective has been to lift this game to the next level. Overall, all the art in the game, make it look completely and utterly a perfect package, essentially. And as Phil said, a definitive title. So it's been a long process. We've been having to be very iterative with everything we've done, and really make sure that we tick all those boxes that we wanted to do over the last couple of years in both titles, and take it to the next level.
I mean, you said there about crossplay. It is crossplay across PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X.
Yes.
We're seeing more and more crossplay titles in over the last sort of 6-12 months or so. Why do you think crossplay is such an important gameplay feature for games to sort of head in now?
I mean, for a game like Overcooked, it's all driven on being together and playing together and playing as one and having that sort of team atmosphere. So putting walls up around platforms can kind of stop that. If your friend's got an Xbox and you've got a PS5, you can't always do that. And now there's no walls there. You can play with whoever you want, whenever you want. And I think that's really important going forward. To have one giant player base that can all get together and play one game.
Brilliant, great. We're also seeing more games introduce accessibility functionality, additional accessibility functionality than perhaps we've seen in the past. Perhaps we've seen it in some PC games in recent years, but there's certainly a drive towards increasing accessibility in games, certainly over the last year or so. It's being introduced with all you can eat as well, accessibility functions and an assist mode. Can you guys tell us more about those functions that we can expect in All You Can Eat and how they'll help bring Overcooked to more and more gamers around the world?
We wanted to do as much as we could to make this game accessible to everyone. And I do think this is an iterative process where we need to have constant feedback and take constant learnings away from what we're doing. It's massively important for this game to be played by everyone, young, old, whatever it is. We want everyone to be involved and everyone to play this. And I think that's been the key driver behind, adding things like assist mode that make the game simpler for people to play with their families. Or if you have a disability, then we'll do our best to account for that and allow you to have full access to the title.
I think that's one of the great things about Overcooked in general is we have such a close relationship with the fans, with the people who play the game. We get a lot of feedback from, people that would like to be able to play the game or struggle to play the game, and it's nice to be able to sort of take the time out to address some of those and bring more people into the fold, really.
And one of the things that All You Can Eat brings is not just the two base games that have been totally reworked from the ground up for next-gen consoles, but also every single piece of downloadable content that's been launched for the games over the last 4 years. New chefs as well coming, new levels too. Chris, Ollie, Phil, how many levels and how many chefs are in this game? It's huge, right?
So at the moment we're looking at about 200 levels, which is obviously massive. I think the exact number would be 208, but don't quote me on that one. So there's a ton of content in there, which is fantastic from both games, and like you say, all the DLC. And then we're looking at around 60 chefs, but all those chefs have alternate skins. So we're looking at 128 alternatives that you can cook in the kitchen with.
I think when you consider that the original game only had 30 campaign levels, I think in total, maybe a bit more, it really shows you just how much content's been added over the last 5 years.
Yeah, and this sort of brings it all together in a new package. I mean, one of the big things we've added for this is the chef select screen, which is more in sort of keeping, because we basically got to the point where our chef roster was so massive that it became impossible to sort of select between the chefs. We've now got a full sort of like display of all the chefs, and you can switch your skins and stuff more in keeping of a kind of party combat kind of game.
Which is perfect for Overcooked. Absolutely perfect for Overcooked. I mean, I think we're all used to sort of seeing those sort of character select screens in various games, and to have that now in Overcooked where you can see the breadth of the characters. Do you guys have a favorite character, by the way?
My favorite's the unicorn chef. Definitely.
Unicorn.
It's cool.
I think mine is the raccoon chef, actually. I think it's the one I've drawn and stared at more than any other chef. Yeah, just love it.
I think there's a chef that looks like me, and I think that's on purpose by art. So I'll take that one.
Amazing. And it's not just a remaster, combined remake of Overcooked and Overcooked 2 either. There are new levels and new characters. We're not talking about the new chefs at the moment, but I'm not sure how deep, how sort of detailed we can go into any of the new levels. But can you at least give us any hints about what's going to be added?
Well, we're still between kind of secretive and sneaky about it, but one of the things that we're kind of excited to do with this sort of combined version of the games is to take a bunch of the mechanics from Overcooked 1, some of the mechanics from Overcooked 2, sort of bridge the settings in a way and bring things together to combine stuff that we couldn't combine before. So that's something we're sort of excited to play around with, and we've got some cool designs to show you at some point.
So it's like fusion cuisine then.
It's a fusion of everything.
All you can eat, of course, has 4K, fully 4K visuals. I think it's 60 frames per second as well. Is that correct, Chris?
Right, yeah.
That's absolutely amazing. So a heck of an achievement to see the game running so smoothly, so vividly, so beautifully. Guys, tell us more about some of the visual updates that we can expect from the game.
Yeah, so the main part of the whole idea behind this was to take Overcooked 1 and completely revisit every single asset in the game. So the whole art will look completely different. You know, we've taken the levels, they're exactly the same, the gameplay is exactly the same, but the quality of the content has just been uplifted. Obviously, Phil and Ollie did a load of this work themselves, so they did a fantastic job of the first title.
You're being very polite about it.
They did a fantastic job of the first title, and we've been able to take that and just pull it into this sort of next-gen sphere. We've not just done that, but we've taken everything from Overcooked 2 and done a full pass over it. So we've really lifted those graphics to the next level. And as you say, it's all displayed in 4K, which looks great. It really does look beautiful on a 4K monitor.
Yeah, just on a personal note, it's just been so fantastic seeing, you know, these levels that me and Ollie made put together in about 18 months, I think it was, from start to finish the game. Wow. It was just me doing the majority of the art, but to see what like a professional art department and one as good as Team 17 sort of take my work and slightly improve it, I'd say. Slightly improve it.
A light touch, a sort of pinch of salt, sort of.
Very, yeah. Just to really bring out those flavors.
A little bit of seasoning, yeah.
They've absolutely transformed it. It looks just sensational.
Perfect. Ollie?
Well, I mean, I love what's been done. I can't go too much into specifics because it was the Team 17 graphic people, but yeah, it absolutely looks stunning now. And also, actually, the music has been changed as well. So there's been a lot of musical improvements in Overcooked 1. The new Apocalypse intro, and with the new music and the new visuals, looks absolutely amazing. So I absolutely love that bit of the game now. It's great.
That's fantastic. So Overcooked All You Can Eat, very much the definitive version of Overcooked and Overcooked 2. A heck of a lot of content, as we've already discussed. New content as well. Wonderful new functionality being added, including the crossplay between PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Is there anything else you guys want to add before we bring the panel to an end?
Buy it.
I mean, there's one takeaway takeaway. I did not mean that pun, but if there is one takeaway for All You Can Eat, it is definitely buy it. I think, isn't it? It's a phenomenal overhaul that's been done, and yeah, we know that the Overcooked franchise is loved by millions of gamers around the world. So I think All You Can Eat will definitely provide many hours of fun for everybody. On the next gen platforms. Ollie, Phil, Chris, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Panel, and yeah, stay tuned for more All You Can Eat in the future.